Adrian, you're our gadget guy. We just had this announcement come out. What's the takeaway? I know all of us were sitting here waiting to hear about the iPad. What's next? I mean, what's the takeaway here?
I think that for Apple, the iPad mini is now their most important tablet. They took the iPad mini and gave it all the same specs as their larger iPad, and it's cheaper, which basically means they want this to be the device that everyone buys. There's no reason to buy, the bigger iPad unless you have a very specific need for that larger screen.
Wasn't it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it could be, but wasn't it before people were saying Apple's coming out with an iPad mini? Are they crazy? I mean, people were very skeptical of this at first, right?
Well, Apple was very skeptical. Apple for years and years and years, not years and years and years, but for a couple of years was like, no, we're not going to make a smaller tablet. We are not going to do this. We don't think it's a good idea. But once companies like Amazon and Google started making these smaller tablets and they started selling well, Apple was forced to look at the reality of the situation. And so last year's iPad mini release was an experiment, and it was a very good experiment for them because by February of last year, everybody was already noticing that the iPad mini was going to cannibalize the larger iPad.
You would say that the iPad mini is kind of the future of their iPad vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Even when you're using it, it's lighter and thinner, and ultimately it's easier to handle, which is a big deal. Even if you're just in the living room or if you take it out of the house with you, it's even a bigger deal. So I think having that smaller size appeals to a lot of people.
There's a joke that Apple would have to give wings to an iPad to make it really revolutionary at this point. I mean, have we just reached that point where, okay, it's a great iPad, and there's so many out there, but I mean, they would really have to overhaul something to make this groundbreaking?
Yeah, I don't think it took very long for them to get to that state, but they did. And so, I mean, the tablet is about as good as it's going to be. You'll make it a little bit faster, a little bit better. But the next wave might be more of the convergence device, which might be something for them to look into. But as far as a pure tablet goes, the iPad is pretty good right now.
Talk about, what do you mean, like a convergence device?
So sort of the hybrid, looking at the PC tablet convergence, like the Microsoft Surface, or a lot of people who work in business and travel a lot keep trying to use the iPad as a laptop, and so they get keyboard cases and keep trying to do that, but it doesn't quite work. So maybe that's an area for Apple to explore, but that remains to be seen.